28 minutes after 9. I'm with Councillor Mike Jones, the leader of Cheshire West and Chester Council. He's here for his monthly question and answer session. We spoke in some detail last time you were here, Mike, about the issue of fracking, coal bed methane extraction, the test drilling that's gone on in Farndon that is scheduled to take place in Upton. I'm going to talk some more about it now. The government seems, from the information it's putting out, to be very pro-fracking. Am I right to believe that Cheshire West and Chester Council still has an open mind?
We have an open mind, and I've set up an all-party working group to investigate this and look at the facts. They need to look at the safety issues, safety to both people and the environment. They need to look at the community returns, and they also need to look at what the impact is on the industries in the area. So they need to form a view and hopefully recommend to the executive what our policy should be.
Because you and several councillors are going to Birmingham next week, I think it is, for the Shale UK conference. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
How many of you are going?
I'm not sure the number. There's 8 listed on the information from the website, but I don't know how many are going, because it's members of the council or officers, particularly members, actually can make their mind up to attend these things and do often attend various events, subjects, to get better information about subjects they're interested in.
What is the cost to the council taxpayers of Cheshire West and Chester of attending this conference?
As far as I'm aware, nothing.
Nothing?
No.
The conference is being hosted for free?
We are. They've been invited free, yes.
OK. All right, now, Carl Elston is on the line, wants to talk to you about this. Carl, you live, I think, just 400 metres from the site in Upton, is that correct?
I do indeed, that's correct, yes.
OK, so it's got to be a good thing, hasn't it, that the councillors are going next week to Birmingham to find out more about the subject?
Well, to be honest, Gavin, I think it's really, it should have been done before. On my question to Councillor Jones, if I may, well, one of my questions is, obviously you've mentioned in the past, and you've mentioned recently to myself, that the reason for you going is to learn more about the business, which that's fair enough. Not many people do know the ins and outs of the business, and it's good to have, to have a thorough grounding. And similarly, when I asked why the applications weren't denied, like they have been in Cheshire East and Wrexham, I was told again that council has no policy, and you don't really have the thorough knowledge. So my first question to you is, if you don't have the thorough knowledge, then surely you're in no real position to approve the test drillings, because you didn't really know what you were getting into.
Well, we're going to listen, and one of the speakers at the conference is Greenpeace, interestingly. So,
yes, I believe so.
It'll be interesting to see what the balanced views are that come from this conference, and it's an opportunity to learn more about the processes of extraction of the natural resources, both gas and oil. At the moment, this council has not received any applications for extraction. All we've received and all that's been approved is the pretty standard drilling systems for exploratory drilling, and that's happened in this county for decades and has happened across the country for decades. It's pretty standard. They drill a hole, they find out what the materials are. I understand they have to register what they find with the Geological Society in terms of the types of rock and where it is and the depths and so on, which adds to the general knowledge of the UK's geological structures. And then they've got particular data which they keep themselves, which they pass to the various companies to see whether it's worthwhile or not to exploit those resources.
Yeah, but you've obviously approved that. You've approved the process of exploratory. But you've admitted yourself that you don't know enough about it to deny it.
No.
So how can you therefore be in a position to approve it when you can't have it both ways? You either know enough to approve it, or you know, or you don't. Similarly, you either know enough to deny it, or you don't.
No, you're mixing two things up. The exploratory drilling is just drilling a vertical hole. There is no processes of extraction, and that's pretty proven science. It's very safe. I don't know of any of problems associated with drilling a vertical hole anywhere in the country, and it's been done for decades, and that's what's been approved. And there are a number of those approvals still in place, and in fact there's one 500 yards behind my house in Hargrave where that was approved in 2010. The application was received, it was discussed at the parish council meeting, the proper notices went out, people were consulted, and nobody objected. And that's the same process that's happened time and time again. In fact, even just down the road from D106, there was an application or a drilling that took place, I think, about 7 or 8 years ago. about 500 yards from the station. So that is a perfectly safe, perfectly reasonable thing to do, and it's happened for decades. We have not yet received an application for the extraction process. There are different processes. Shale gas fracking, as it's known. You've got gasification, you've got coal bed methane. There, what we need to understand what those processes are. Some of them are very modern technologies. We need to understand what they are, what the impact is, how safe they are, what the issues are, what the risks are. And that's the work we're doing, and that's the purpose of the committee, to understand these issues.
And will those be the questions that you're putting to the organisers of the conference next week?
I will certainly be asking myself, a number of people there, all these questions myself to better inform myself, because we have a responsibility as a council to understand these things. And then if we get an application, which I'm sure we will in 12-18 months time, when the government decides to issue licences for extraction, then we will have a better understanding and a policy in place.
Is it just councillors that are going, or would you be prepared to take one or two people like Carl, who lives very close to the site in Upton, who are very, very concerned, members of the community?
Well, we're not taking anyone. The council is not taking anyone. Members are going on their own volition. And so we're just going to find information out. As far as I'm aware, I don't know who's going. I know one or two that are going. And they're going.
Can I just ask a question at this point, please?
Yeah, go ahead, Carl. Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe that Councillor Dawson will be attending with you. Now, do you still maintain that you're going with an open mind?
Well, what else would you go with? Councillor Dawson actually has quite an interesting issue with Frodsham, because he's just got 20-odd wind farms that the community absolutely hates on the Frodsham marshes, and he's going again because he has to represent people, and Frodsham marshes is a site potentially that's there for shale gas, so he wants to go and understand better as well, and he went last year, as far as I'm aware.
He did, and I'm just about to quote now. Councillor Dawson actually addressed the conference last year, and I quote, He addressed it, you guys need people like me who are very much on your side. And also, secondly, he addressed them, we actually want to be a team. Now, that doesn't look very impartial and very open-minded to me.
Well, if he's actually said that...
How else did you read that?
If he's actually said that, and he may or may not have, I don't know the answer to that.
Yes, he has. I can provide you with footage of it.
Well, that's fine. If he said that, then he can't sit on a planning committee. It makes a decision. He would have to declare an interest and actually withdraw from that meeting. But actually, as it turns out, he doesn't sit on planning board. So no, there are some members who have strong views about these things, both for and against, and if they express those views before a decision is made, they have to declare that and actually withdraw from the meeting as predetermination. So
but you can't honestly say that Cheshire West and Chester are impartial. When councillors are saying this kind of thing in public, and there's footage of them saying it, which, as I said, I can provide you with, you can't really say that the CWaC are impartial. They're clearly not.
You missed the point of a democratic society. He is entitled to his views, and he puts himself up for election every 4 years, and people will support him or not, and he's entitled to those views, and we all have views on various subjects. And they're and we live in a free country. That's the whole point of living in this country, is we have a free country and we're allowed to express those views. But
we do indeed, yes.
But if you are involved in the decision-making process and you've expressed views for or against something, such as a planning process, then you cannot take part in that process if you've expressed those views. So the rules are very clear about this, and they apply to all sorts of things, not just this particular one subject.
Carl, just hang on for a second while we do the travel news, and I'll come back to you in a second.
Traffic and travel with Fords of Winsford. 1,500 cars, all makes, all colours, all ready to test drive. Visit fow.co.uk.
Even a debate about fracking has to stop for you, Sarah.
The Wrexham bypass is all looking fairly clear now towards the Post House roundabout. In fact, in both directions, where there was an accident affecting you heading towards Wrexham. Still a slight build-up towards the Overley roundabout there on Wrexham Road, making your way towards Chester, and it's still looking like it's queuing past the racecourse on, just off Sealand Road as you head towards the Inner Run Road towards Chester. Hull Road still looking busy through Hull towards Hull Bridge, and if you're travelling on Parkgate Road around the university, around Chester University, let me know about the traffic lights, because we've had problems with those this morning. The number, Chester 39163.
Traffic and travel with Fords of Winsford. Over 1,500 cars, all here on our huge site. Now that's choice. Visit fow.co.uk.
Just a couple of minutes more on this then. I was just wondering about this conference next week, the Shale UK conference in Birmingham. Unless I've misunderstood it, is it not going to be very one-sided? Are the views expressed going to be purely the reasons why fracking is a good thing and can go ahead safely?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I'm going.
Who's it being put on by?
It's being put on by a company that organises conferences. So
yes, so who's it being funded by, Councillor Jones?
And it's attended by people from all sides, and there are workshops there where it's an opportunity to ask questions and listen to views and start to understand what the questions the council needs to ask. And those questions, some of them have been put forward in various letters received from opponents of fracking, which is fine. We need to make sure we get those questions asked to the industry. There have also been questions put forward that actually are pro fracking. And there are a lot of very concerned people, particularly what's happening in the Ukraine and with Russia about gas supplies. So there are both sides to this.
So can people be assured?
Make sure we have a balanced approach to this.
Can people listening be assured that next week you and your fellow councillors who attend this conference are going to hear people, yes, they're going to hear people saying, who hold the view that it's absolutely fine, but can they be assured that they're going to hear other people standing up and saying this is not fine and the various concerns they've got?
No, they won't.
Well, I don't know the answer to that because Greenpeace is speaking. Greenpeace is speaking, and I'm not sure what their position is. I'm assuming they're going to probably speak against it, but I don't know.
So people can be assured. So people can be assured they're going to have heard both sides of the debates.
Well, they might not hear both sides of the debate at the conference, but over the next 6 months, the working group, I hope, will hear both sides. So you can't just take the conference in isolation. You know, I don't know what the speakers are going to say. Clearly, some of them are going to be very supportive of the process, not just of shale gas fracking, but also of the other technologies as well. But Greenpeace are there, and I'm assuming they will probably speak against it, and it'd be interesting to see what they do say.
So it's not just industry people who are going to be delivering speech after speech after speech. Carl, I can give you one more question, Carl. I can give it to Councillor Jones.
That would be fantastic, thank you. Councillor Jones, a lot of your arguments for unconventional gas exploration and indeed exploitation, should it come to it, they've been financial. More jobs, which there won't be. The workforce is transient workforce that follows rig to rig to rig, and once the process is set up, it requires very, very minimal working. Okay, you're saying that it will be cheaper energy, which again there won't be. Lord Brown himself, who's the chairman of Quadrilla, who are currently going back to Balcombe to drill, has actually confirmed it won't bring energy prices down. You seem to massively overlook the more important issue of health risks and the environment risk. You don't seem to be too concerned about that at all. Wells leak methane. Pretty much every well will leak methane over the course of its life. Over 6% of them leak on installation, and that's providing regulations are followed. Now, we both know that when Darts drilled at the Farndon site, they didn't follow regulation. Bunding was not installed to protect the fluids. Now, we reported this to the Environment Agency. We reported it to your own Rod Brookfield, who informed us that it wasn't in Cheshire West and Chester's remit to enforce that. Now, you keep focusing on the financial, but it's far, far more important that people's health is taken into consideration.
So these are very genuine concerns, and people, I think, certainly who take Carl's view, don't feel that the council are embracing their concerns.
I mean,
let me
my
just
daughter
answer
lives
these. Let me just
400
answer
metres
these.
from the rig, and her health does not have a price.
Well, I think you are completely wrong in that statement, with all due respect, Carl. And,
no, I'm not. It does not have a price, believe me.
You said that my argument's for. I've not put any arguments for or against. I've said we've got a balanced view of this and we're looking at how we do it. Now, I've never ever said it's more jobs. What I have said is that we have high energy industries in Cheshire West and Wrexham and Halton and Warrington, that actually those jobs will disappear. There are 40,000 people, both direct and indirect jobs, associated with high energy manufacturing companies such as General Motors, Grohow, Quinn Glass, SR, and Unilever and so on. Now, this area will be tremendously poorer if we lost those jobs, and already manufacturing plants are being set up in America because the cost of gas is 60% lower than this country, that will compete with our industries, and those industries will disappear over the next 5 to 10 years' time. And that is a fact. So it's about existing jobs and the quality of the workforce here. I have never said... let me finish, please, because you listed a whole lot of questions, so I want to answer those. You've said I've said cheaper energy. I've not said cheaper energy. What I've said...
Yes, you did.
No, I haven't.
You did.
If you look at my statement at council, what I said was, if this technology can stabilise the price of energy or even reduce it, to the questions there, not statements, questions, then we should look at it in a positive way. And it has actually reduced the price of gas in America by 60%. So there is a track record of that. And I think when you talk to the industry, and I have asked this question, what they've said is by doing 1 or 2 wells of shale gas or coal bed methane and so on, then it will not bring the price down. Actually, if it's done on a mass way, where we have lots of wells doing this, then it is likely to bring the price of energy
and that's
down.
what the government seems to be saying. So people with Carl's views are probably feeling that the government is going to press ahead, and in their area, the council is going to press ahead.
We're not going to press ahead until we understand. We talked about health. I've made it very clear. It's been always at the front of my statement is we have to make sure that we understand what the risks are to both people and the environment. And then in terms of Farndon, the reports I've had back is that the accusations made were not proven. And finally, my final point is, I'm assuming, Carl, that you drive a car. You use petrol.
No, I don't actually, Councillor Jones.
I'm assuming you use gas in your house for energy.
I do.
And I'm assuming you use electricity.
I do.
Unless you actually can stop using all those things, then actually we need energy from somewhere.
Okay, well, what about the wind?
Or
should we deal with that another time?
What's that, sorry?
What about the wind, renewables?
Well, unfortunately, when you look at fertiliser, which is 20% of the cost of growing grain, they actually crack the gas to create fertiliser. And they manufacture 1.6 million tonnes at Elton, and that actually supports our farming industry and food for our population. So if we can actually see the gas price stabilise or indeed go down, you reduce prices of food and you reduce prices of energy. And if you do that, then actually we'll reduce fuel.
All right, well, we'll come back to this next
time.
Some
big issues here.
We'll come back to this next time. Carl, thank you for your question, and do get in touch after the conference next week, and we'll probably pick up on it next time Mike's in. Thank you very much, Carl Elston, who lives very close to the Upton site there.
The break.